Okay, my name is Deniz Lopez. My poetry name is De-Colonize, and I just try to push information. I kind of call myself more like an e-activist. Like, I push out information and just try to keep people aware, connecting the dots. With petty things in my life now done, I'm fighting for a bigger love now, son. It's one about the people that walk this earth. For this movement, my whole life is worth, and I'll endure the murders and the pinche raids, survive the propaganda that make our culture fade. Ricos think they own this, but this is Aztlan. It's not about me no more, it's about our sacred lands. It's about the end of the servitude for the working and poor. It's about the end of the machismo mujeres endure. My people, learn your purpose in this life. Let's talk about why you carry a knife. The time has come to talk about the rape of Mexica property and why, if you're black or brown, you probably live in poverty. Let's discuss ancient types of medicina like ajo from your abuela's cocina. Let's discuss ancient texts not burned by the Spaniards, those things never taught in pre-to-high schoolyards. Let's redevelop the knowledge of fire and air. Let's collect all of these and throw a neighborhood fair. I'm thinking, if I know you personally due to this space, maybe it'll become less and less about race and more about just nurturing your mind. Don't you think it's time to leave all this hatred behind? Let's create. That means planting some seeds. Only through this can we ever be freed. And it starts small, like a couple of people in the streets, like when Sister Parks wouldn't give up her seat. It's like a conference that happened in Santa Barbara that caused some to become mechista hermanas. Let's do this thing because the old way ain't working. We're dying in Iraq, but politicians are still smirking. Malcolm said, don't let them fool you. What becomes a movement begins with a few. Man, look past the so-called facts. Learn how our people were stabbed in the backs and how we still live under the same lies, elitist, capitalistic thugs and spies. Only through ancestral bravery can we ever escape modern slavery. Put down the guns, we'll start some dialogue. We'll find our way through the mirrors and fog. There's something beyond that veil used to hide. But the first change, I can testify, has to come from inside. I think my name came sort of out of that idea, like decolonization. I kind of came up first as a machista, and studying things like decolonization, about original or indigenous ways of life, and so that's kind of where my name came out of. And as far as the importance, it's understanding, that nowadays our lifestyle has become so much more materialistic. People are disconnected with each other. People don't communicate on the same level. And there's just a lot of disconnection between people, even people living on your block. You don't know your neighbors like you used to. And so taking it back to original or indigenous ideas, it's like getting to know people, holding each other responsible, and pretty much being able to save each other and being able to look out for each other, and get away from these things that are, destroying us as a society.
How do you avoid that temptation? I come home, I see E! Entertainment,
Right.
Jessica Simpson's on there, Eva Longoria, they're all puffy and all these people. They make it seem like what they're doing is really on and cracking. And then I'm talking to people like yourselves and you're telling us, nah, you got to decolonize for that. But that C-Rock thing, it's looking kind of tasty at a time. So how are you able to really stick to those principles and encourage people when all the stops have been pulled out to really make us, give in to the corporate seduction, as they like to say, that's happening?
Right. How do we fight against? Well, it does look good, and it looks good when all the bling and the women and things like that, but that's not the reality that most people live in day to day. Most of those people, have gotten a break and it's nice and stuff, but we know artists that are like local that are amazing, and they don't, and they're still riding around. We're still riding around in our hoopties, and we still have our day jobs and stuff like that. And those ideas are, they're marketing towards us as like Latinos, as blacks, trying to get us to invest more in what they think we should want and what they think we need. but those things, they don't help the overall, society that we're living in. We're still dealing with, poverty. We're dealing with gangs. We're dealing with, really tense race relations. Those things still exist. I'm from Denver Harbor. That's right next to Fifth Ward, and you're still hearing about, race wars going on at the high schools and stuff. And it sounds ridiculous to some people, but it's, it's the reality. So, focusing on having rims or, having, expensive designer things, takes us away from the root of things that are causing so many bad things to happen in our society.